Now, more of Illinois Rising, presented by the Illinois Policy Institute, the only show directly addressing the problems and solutions for Illinois. Now, from AM 560, here's Dan Proft.
Dan Proft back with Pat Hughes on this edition of Rising. And Pat, it's interesting. I think people have a very different understanding of the amount of turnover there is in the Illinois General Assembly than is the reality. I always used to, this is a stale statistic now, but when I was speechifying out on the hustings, I would ask people, what do you think the turnover is between 2002 and 2012 in the Illinois General Assembly on a percentage basis? How much of the General Assembly has turned over from, one census adjusted election to the next, 2012 to 2002, to 2012, because all these term limit proposals, most of them are actually more than 10 years in in the House, at least, in the General Assembly, generally speaking. So a 10-year period, long time. What percentage do you think has turned over in that 10-year period? And people would say what you'd expect them to say, because they think it's just like a permanent ruling class. Oh, 5%, 10%, 20%. In point of fact, during that period, it was more than 80% in each chamber. People come and go, the culture stays the same.
Correct.
And that's what people need to understand. It's a personnel problem in part, yes, but it's personnel as the means to changing political culture. That's ultimately the goal. And so we have to get a better class of people in Springfield and state government generally, but then we have to hold them accountable if they turn out not to be, to not fit that description. And so that's what we've talked about in this show before. That's in our private lives, what you and I do in part. And that's why Brandon Phelps, who's a Democrat incumbent, longtime incumbent from Harrisburg down in southern Illinois, announced he was retiring this week, becoming the 21st lawmaker to either resign or announce they're not seeking re-election in 2018. Which is a big number, and I think the work that we do through Liberty Principles PAC, this is an independent expenditure PAC, an Illinois Opportunity Project, which you're the co-founder of, and other allied organizations, is the result of, there's the proximate cause of 6 of those retirements among House Republicans who voted for the tax increase with no spending reforms and overrode the governor's veto of said unholy budget deal back 4th of July weekend. So we're working to change things out, but people need to understand that it can't just be us. The Republican Party needs to take a look at itself in terms of how it holds bad actors within the party on these core economic liberty issues, fiscal responsibility issues, accountable.
Yeah, that's why your numbers, Dan, from 2002 to 2012, there was a ton of turnover. You said 80%, but the culture never changed. And the reason that is the system of replacing the people that were leaving or retiring never changed. And now we're trying to change that system. Look, you have to replace a bad actor with a good actor. You can't just replace them with another bad actor. So who goes into these seats on the Republican side can't just be any other Republican. If there's an open seat against a Democrat, the guy or woman running against that Democrat in the open seat can't just be any other Republican. You've got to find people. You've got to support people. They have to be principled. They have to have led lives, and they have to be independent of the Springfield culture that has existed all of this time. We're making incremental and actually really good progress in this front, but the work is far from over. This election cycle provides an incredible opportunity because of all the resignations and retirements you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, in safe Republican seats, we say this ad nauseum, but it bears repeating, we've had for too long too many placeholders, people that are Republicans. Generally speaking, they vote yes when they should vote yes and no when they should vote no, but oftentimes in seminal moments they don't, as evidenced by these 15 Madigan Republicans that surrendered other people's money, your money, to the Chicago Democrat bosses by voting for Madigan's tax increases, no spending reforms budget. And now the flip side, the Democrats in safer Democrat seats, they either have complete toadies to Mike Madigan, or they have assassins that are at the tip of the spear, advancing the hard left progressive flag.
Yeah, and if you're Ken Duncan and you go off the reservation, what do? They replace you,
Clip
right?
you.
Jim Durkin and Tom Cross before him are only interested in being leader, right? So they're afraid to challenge people in their own caucus, even those who voted for this incredible giant tax increase against the governor's wishes and against the leader's wishes. They're still afraid to do it because at the end of the day, what Jim Durkin wants, Dan, is he wants to be leader. If that's leader of 3 Republicans in the caucus, he's still leader. If it's 50, he's still leader. And that's what he cares about most. And that's why the culture of primary challenges or even supporting people in open seats on the Republican side doesn't take place. And that has to change. And that's why we're from the outside trying to make it change, which we've done over all this time already.
Yeah, I mean, that's the salient point. Somebody like Jim Durkin who is more interested in having the title than he is having a majority. That's what you need to understand. So, I hear Republicans say all the time, the only vote that matters for those House Democrats is the vote for Speaker, and they all vote for Mike Madigan, and that's true. So you have flim-flam men like Jack Franks back in the day, who's now the McHenry County Board Chairman, pretend to be independent, but ultimately the vote that counted was his vote to continue the reign of Mike Madigan. Well, the only thing Jim Durkin cares about is the vote for House Republican leader. So to some respects, there's two sides of the same coin.
Yeah, but it's worse. Durkin's so bad, and I'll tell you why. Because if he participated in primaries, if he acted like a leader, if he held people to account for the things he and the party are supposed to stand for, the good people in the party would go behind him because they say, look, he's fighting for the right things. And the bad people would be eliminated and he'd win those races. So he would consolidate power. He doesn't even know how to do that. That's how silly it is.
Well, I mean, right. So if he wasn't Jim Durkin, he wouldn't be Jim Durkin.
I'm just wishing that he wasn't Jim Durkin or that we didn't have to deal with him.
Maybe. Yeah, right. Yes. I think that the latter is the real opportunity, not the former.